on the Saturday. But yeah, okay. So let's move on to quali. So of course we had quite an exciting quali. We had Checo on pole, the Ferraris second and third, and of course we had Max Force. And then we had Lewis in 16th as well, which was quite a surprise. So apparently it was because they tried to go for a different setup, and it was just a thing on the setup, you couldn't get into gear. And then, we ended up getting knocked out in Q1 for the first time since I think Brazil 2017, something weird like that. So I'm going to come to you on this, Mahad. Do you... how is it? So what do you think about Mercedes and their decision to change the setup? And do you think it was more of a Lewis fault? Do you think it was a bit of both? Or do you think it was strictly the Mercedes fault in terms of why Lewis went out so early in qualifying?
Okay, so obviously Lewis going out in Q1 is not ideal, especially with the quality performance back in Bahrain of Mercedes. It wasn't that bad. They're very much in the scoping stage. When you're like that, when you're kind of researching and trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to work this car out? Of course, they're going to experiment and put two different things on Russell and Hamilton's car. What the unknown is the results of that. You don't know if Russell's car is going to be faster or Hamilton's car is going to be faster. If they switched it around, the scenario could have been different and Russell could have been knocked out in Q1. But they have to experiment, because if they want to catch up with the Red Bulls and Ferraris, they're going to have to take these type of risks. So maybe it's a combination of Mercedes messing up that setup completely, and maybe it's a combination of or a combination with Hamilton not feeling confident in the car as well, because your car has to be kind of really on edge and like controlled when you're going through a quali lap here. And if you feel like your rear end's going to go, or you feel like you can't point the car where you want it to go, then definitely you're not going to put in the quali lap that you expect. So if you can't heat up your tires, if you don't have confidence in the car, and if that's what the setup was giving him, it didn't really work out. So I think it's bad luck on both parts. I think with Mercedes, them being so far behind in development at this moment in time, I'm not really understanding, because they really only brought one major upgrade last year in comparison to like Red Bull and so on. So, and they said that a lot of times, this is way back in 2021, that we're focusing on 2022. So they've either got it massively wrong and they're trying to catch up, or there's major issues there. So I'm just trying to figure out, okay, I don't want to make any like quick judgments yet. I just want to wait until a couple more races to see if they've actually really messed this up, or they've just forgot about to power the engine or to upgrade it to the equivalents of the Red Bull powertrains or Ferrari. But yeah, honestly, I don't know about Lewis Hamilton. It's not a good look, honestly, to be knocked out in Q1. But here we are, man.
Yeah. Scary times. Aldas, do you have any thoughts on Mercedes' woes this weekend, if you will?
I think in terms of the car, there's no doubt, obviously, that it's tricky, because even when you saw like Lewis's onboard lap, like he was missing apexes all the time. He doesn't have that. It was the turning more than anything, like, because the rear was snapping all the time, and he didn't have that confidence in the car that he usually has. And you can see the Mercedes, from what they're saying, it's very there's very narrow operating window in terms of getting the tires working in the absolute window. And if the car's just out of that window, then it's almost like it's a borderline like Q3 car. Like they're struggling to, kind of like be really solid in Q3. So it's a weird one. And even George Russell, I mean, getting out qualified by Esteban Ocon, it's not as if like, George, who did a much better job than Lewis, is like clear of everyone else. Obviously behind like the two teams of Ferrari and Red Bull, but ahead of everyone else. He was still behind Ocon. So it's a weird one with Mercedes and their quali pace. I do think in the race, it definitely, you can see their race pace is a lot better. They kind of extend that gap to the midfield teams. But yeah, even though the Mercedes does have all of those issues, I know the car is difficult, and the fact that they are looking at different setups, like, I think it just shows you how much they're struggling, especially, with the porpoising. And I mean, this track isn't even that bad for it. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in Australia, because that's a bumpy track. That's a proper street track. How they're going to do there, I think, is going to be very, very telling. But yeah, the fact that they're trying different setups, you can see that they're not quite sure of what the right even window for their car is. But having said all of that, I think it was a bit embarrassing, for Lewis to be out in Q1. I mean, he got out qualified by Lance Stroll. Don't get me wrong, that car's difficult. There's no doubt about it. But he's still in a Mercedes, and to get out qualified by Lance Stroll, it's not a good look at all. Mahad said it, and I feel like he's absolutely right. Lewis needs to bounce back on this. It was like all of the stats came out in terms of like it's his worst qualifying since Brazil 2017, but that's when he crashed out. his actual, this has actually been 2009, I think, the German Grand Prix people were saying, in terms of the last time he was knocked out in Q1 on pace. So it's not a good look. There's no doubt about it. But he did have a better race. He kind of, he did that classic Lewis thing of coming back through the field. Didn't quite have the luck in terms of the strategy. But yeah, this can't be happening again, because to me, that's not the car. That's just a bad day in the office for Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, Lewis is a lot about day in the office, especially when you go on as Q1 for the first time on pace in 13 years. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, to be fair. But yeah, hopefully Mercedes can get their act together. But moving on to further up the field, Checo, he got his first pole in 215 attempts. Aldas, I'm gonna come to you on this. What did you think of Checo's exciting pole?
Legit couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, all I was looking at was Max and Charles. I wasn't even counting Sainz too much, because I think he was like saying like yellow sectors, and I was like, oh, Leclerc's got it. That's it. Charles Leclerc pole. Just get the other ones over and done with, so it's all confirmed. And then out of nowhere, I'm seeing Leclerc on pole, and then I see Sergio Perez going green and then purple in the middle sector, and I honestly couldn't believe it. I was like, no way. And then he actually got pole position. It's weird. I've never seen a single person, whenever there's like qualifying predictions, I swear to God, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I've never seen on Twitter anyone saying Sergio Perez, like even giving him a shout. And I think that's just because like qualifying is not his forte. Like he's someone who comes alive in the races. He's great on tires. He's got that really good mindset. For the most part, he's quite calm, but he can get moves done. And he does, he can get, his elbows out. There's no doubt about it. We saw a lot of that last year, like even obviously in Abu Dhabi, which was critical to Max winning the title, against Lewis. So he's a great racer, but qualifying has never been there. But again, I think he said, even if he did that lap 1,000 times, he couldn't get any better. So that was kind of the best we've ever seen, I think, Sergio Perez on a Saturday. There's no doubt about it. The thing for me, though, is that we saw Sergio out-qualify Max once on pure performance in Imola last year, and he kind of bottled it in that race. If we remember, that was great. We thought, oh, wow, this is it. Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon, forget about that. Sergio Perez is going to do the job. And he wasn't able to do it in the races, and he never again out-qualified Max throughout the entire 2021 season. Now, he got massively unlucky in the race. There's no doubt about that, but I want to see more of this. This can't be like, a one-time wonder. That's it. He's out-qualified Max once. He needs to do more of this to prove that he actually is on top of this car and that he is driving at his best. But purely on the lap, I mean, it was nuts, man. I couldn't believe it. And clearly, it was so good to see him buzzing as well.
Yeah, it was a brilliant lap from Checo. I mean, as I said, he's not known for his qualifying pace. No one really, picks him for like pole positions and all stuff like that. But it was definitely, everyone definitely clicked on Saturday, so that was good to see. Mahad, I'm gonna come to you on this. Seen a few people online, certain cast members saying that, because obviously Sainz got provisional pole, and Shaw got provisional pole, and then Checo got pole. A couple cast members have been saying, oh yeah, Sainz and Max bottled pole. Do you go with this rhetoric, or do you think it's just a bit of BS?
I don't know about bottled. It's a bit. I think you're referring to Sainz and Max bottled pole, but Charles didn't. I don't know how that works. They either all bottled it or they didn't bottle it. You can't just categorize one person bottled, two people bottling it, and one guy didn't. With Sainz, I think it was the tire thing. He was better on used tires, so he was Q1, Q2. He was going in. Yeah, he was actually going in. He was pushing Leclerc quite a lot, and he was sticking it on pole. So, and he did have provisional pole in the first round of Q3. So, he just pitted for new tires, and it just didn't heat up for him, and he couldn't get it in there. And it was like 4 tenths down on his original time. So, I wouldn't say it's bottled. I just think it's maybe his approach was wrong. I don't know whether that was approach led from the pit wall or him deciding, okay, give me fresh tires and let me see how it goes. But it turns out it was a bad decision. Max in Q3 was awful. I don't know what was going on. He couldn't get heat into his tires. He was nowhere near. If we're looking at even the times in Q1 and Q2, he's nowhere. He wasn't doing anywhere near that. He just couldn't put it all together for some reason, and it was kind of symbolic to his whole weekend because in practice he was the same. He just couldn't put the perfect lap together. Hence why Leclerc was topping practice 1 and practice 2. Something would always happen, or he just a snap of oversteer or stuff like that. So maybe he's understanding the cars a little bit different. But Checo was doing a madness. Checo was doing a madness in Q2 and Q3. And if you watch his lap, it's a perfect lap. and him himself said that he was fucking terrified because he was doing full send in sector 2, full send on all of these S curves, and it was insane what he was doing. So I wouldn't say it's a bottle from Charles, Sainz, or Max or anything like that. I would say that just Perez put in the blinder, man. We have to he's closed that gap. He's closed the gap to Max in terms of quality. I think in the first two races, he needs to be consistent. He needs to be consistent with it. But he's definitely, I think, coming into the new regs, and you kind of got an even playing field. So you both got the same type of understanding of the car. You both started from zero. So that's giving him an advantage. And I waited 11 years for a Checo pole. 11 years I've waited. People at Mexico. I was so happy yesterday. I can't believe how happy I was. And Latifi took that away from me. So, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll move and start you soon anyway. But yeah, just to speak on that, a certain customer said, what was it? Shaw was quicker, but Perez was faster. Whatever that fucking means. That's similar. What does that mean? That's similar mean. Like I don't know, man. Okay. For listeners. And for Aldas as well, there's a rhetoric that's going on that like Ferrari's Charles is driving a wheelbarrow and he's going against these Red Bulls and the Ferrari's so slow. It's not.
Put these people on put these people on notice. We need to know who they are. We need to know it's the Ferrari wheelbarrow.
It's Anik. It's disgrace. If you saw that Ferrari was putting like half a second on Red Bull's head in sector 1, pay attention to what's going on in the race. Obviously, straight line speed. This is one thing I need to kind of express, even to F1 Twitter. Please, guys. There's a difference between being really quick on straight lines and being the fastest car. That's two different things. Racetracks are not this ain't. We're not doing drag races here. There's some cars that are set up to be good in slow corners and medium corners, and then there's cars that are like rapid on straights. That the car that's rapid on straights does not mean that's the fastest car at all. If you can't be in the fastest car and be losing bloody 3 tenths every time you go into sector 1 to Ferrari. So I think on the balance of things, they're quite equal. But to do this kind of rhetoric, Anik, stop. This rhetoric that Charles is driving a wheelbarrow. Look at this guy. He's unbelievable. Stop. Just stop. And any Ferrari fan out there, just stop, please, guys. Relax.
By the way, do you know what's coming on F1 Twitter? Like, if Mercedes can't catch up and it is like Red Bull versus Ferrari, it's gonna come that point where like both of the fan bases are gonna be like, oh no, the Ferrari's terrible, mate. The Red Bull's so far ahead. Oh, the Red Bull is terrible, mate. The Ferrari's just miles ahead. I can't wait for that because that argument always kicks off. Like people are playing down their car.
Happened last year as well with Mercedes and Red Bull. Like, oh, my car's terrible. No, your car's terrible. Why don't you, as a fan base, just own your car, man? If Adrian Newey is pulling his air out, thinking, I've made a good car, can you guys big me up, please? Rather than saying I've got a wheelbarrow.
Yeah. Big up Adrian Newey for saying that, by the way, in Abu Dhabi. Like, he was like, yeah, well, I think we have like a slightly quicker car. But to me, the Mercedes and Red Bull last year were like, both drivers had the car to win the championship. To me, like, they were quick at different parts of the season, but both could have won it. And it's kind of, I think it's the same at the moment now, even as well. Like the Red Bull and the Ferrari look so close. Like to me, there's no quicker car. It's just whoever sets it up better and whoever like hooks up the laps, and like simple as that.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's just the equivalence of the thing you say, oh yeah, trying to be like you, big man. It's just the equivalence of that. That's all it is. Both fan bases are trying to be like you, big man. I want to be a car as quick as you. It's like, fam, like come on. What are we doing?
No, man. I think another thing. I think people want to make out their drivers are superhuman. And I'm like, relax, man. Come on, man. Please. Yeah. Technically, you can't outdrive your car anyway. You can't. Yeah. The car could do 315 kph, but your driver made it do 317 because he's a legend. No, that's not how.
Fernando Alonso could. Fernando Alonso could.
Probably good. Listen, Fernando Alonso, 2005, won a title on a slower car. Congratulations.
He said it, not me. Legend. That's all I'm saying.
Listen. I'm a McLaren fan, and I said that. McLaren had a faster car that year, but here we go. Kimmy, man. All right, I digress.